Welcome back, everybody. Looking forward to our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend, getting to your questions, the community's questions, just like we do every Saturday and Sunday, every weekend. This is episode 3712. If you want to tune in to see what the questions are, read right along at stephencabral.com/3712. Let's dive right in. First question today is from Sarah. Sarah says, "Hey, Doc. I've been regularly gua shaing my face, and I notice that my face feels crunchy, especially at my jawline and at my lymph nodes by my ear. It doesn't seem to be improving despite my regular use. Is this normal or anything to be concerned? It feels more in my left side, which I seem to get more breakouts on my cheek, jawline, and neck. Thank you." Okay, so if anybody's not familiar with gua sha, it's essentially using a small stone and scraping or gently doing lymphatic-based massage. So this is it's an old traditional Chinese medicine technique, actually. It's called gua sha. And this is, again, something I did on one of my internships. I had done it previously, but not in this way, not with the gua sha stones. They actually use all sorts of different products. We used an animal horn. I know not everybody might like that, but it was very interesting how we went around the scapula and the trapezius muscles with it. So yeah, it's pretty fantastic. And that's it. In modern day, I guess, they call it Graston technique. A lot of chiropractors do it. But what it's meant to do is help move the lymphatic system. But oftentimes people are doing it really hard. And so it squishes the lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is actually meant to go fairly gentle. If you've ever done a real lymphatic massage, like the Emmanuel Vauder technique, it's very gentle. You're only compressing or depressing the skin just a couple millimeters. That's it. Even when you're doing dry brushing, which helps to move the lymph, or just with your fingers, I do this every morning. I'm massaging down my neck to move the lymph very gently. Okay, so what you might be feeling, I have to give you my disclaimer, everybody the disclaimer for the host show, can't provide any medical advice, medical treatments, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but all of you know that, of course, by now. This is episode 3712, right? All right, so you might be feeling, though, fascia, knotted up fascia or tight fascia. That is possible. And if that fascia is tight, it might not be getting as much blood flow, and maybe we see some congestion there leading to more acne on that side. If you go to a really talented and skilled esthetician who is very aware of these things, sometimes they know more about, and I'm probably mispronouncing this, so I apologize, the buccal-based massage. They massage from the inside the cheeks out. Some, obviously not all practitioners are created equal, right? You might be able to find a person that can see if that is really tight fascia. Some great chiropractors that do Graston technique might be able to see if that is tighten fascia, and if there's anything that you might be able to do to unravel that as well. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. I don't know if it gave your answer, but at least we moved you in the right direction. Margie is up next. Margie says, or Margie, "I just read all of your cancer information because of a recent diagnosis. I have a naturopathic doctor in addition to conventional oncologist. I'm curious your take on Essiac tea and Soursop. I told not to take it during treatment because it's a detox and we want the targeted chemo and immunotherapy to work. This is from my ND. However, research on both suggests otherwise. I'm very curious on your thoughts." Okay, so as you know, I can't provide cancer-based advice, right? What I will say, and this actually might need to be bleeped out by my team for YouTube, so just make a note of that because it's a treatment. So Essiac has been around for a long time. It's actually Casey backwards. And on my show, I shared the original recipe. My mentor, Dr. Pete, shared with me the original recipe that she got, and that is she taught me in 2007, and I passed it on as well. So not all Essiac tea is legitimate and real Essiac tea. Please see my podcast on that. I share with you the company. I get nothing for that. It's the real deal and the right herbs. Okay, the next is Soursop tea. Yes, I'm a believer in Soursop tea. You can consume it as a tea or as a capsule, and the capsules are called Graviola. Graviola is also called Soursop, one and the same. I recommend both. I'm a fan of both. Can you take them during traditional treatments? Typically, you cannot do a lot of things during chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is meant to create an oxidative stress in the body. If you are using high antioxidants, it works to defeat that purpose. meaning high dose vitamin C or anything high antioxidants you would not do during a chemotherapy-based treatment. But again, I'm not giving you medical-based advice. There are things that you can do outside of the strongest point of chemo, especially if it's every 3 weeks, than you wouldn't do within the, call it 48 hours before, 48 hours after. Personally, if I was ever getting chemotherapy, I would be doing the fasting mimicking diet, especially if it was only every 3 weeks, which some of them are, depending on the cancer. I don't know that I would do 5 days of the fasting mimicking diet every time I did it, but I would at least do the day before, the day of, and the day after. Hopefully that was helpful, Margie, and we're all rooting for you in our community. All right, Alicia is up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I recently, by the way, the page that Margie is talking about is stephencabral.com/cancer. Alicia is up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I recently run my blood work and urine test. I have pretty good results from my blood work, except high cholesterol, but I am concerned about the results from my urine test. It shows I have trace amounts of blood in my urine, and also albumin in the urine was detected, slightly above the optimal cutoff. My urine albumin is 0.3. What can I do about this? Also, does that indicate early kidney damage? By the way, the test was done on the 16th of my cycle. Thank you for answering my question. Appreciate all you do. Okay, again, I can't provide medical advice, but I'm happy to help with this. So, oftentimes when we see blood in the urine, we are looking for a urinary tract infection, a kidney infection, and I recommend getting these. I'm going to be coming out with a PDF completely free, of course. That's my top 30 resources, the ones that I use every day and so do my clients, or at least weekly. And one of them are just cheap urine dipsticks. That's all they are. You want to look for leukocytes in the urine, blood in the urine, and you can say, okay, this might be kidney based, it might be urinary tract based. You want to really rule that out first before looking at something deeper where it could be protein breakdown, protein not being properly absorbed, broken down, absorbed, and then it's having to be filtered by the body. Is this a one-time thing? Did you do a really hard workout? Or was there trace blood in the urine because for whatever reason there was a little bit of tissue damage? So again, like there's all sorts of different things to look at. Check out I don't even know if it's on my resource page, but you can always ask at cabralsupportgroup.com and we can help you find it. But they're just called urine dipsticks. They're like a 10-in-1. And they're going to look at leukocytes, they're going to look at albumin, they're going to look at all those things. Keep them on hand. You'll be able to just urinate into a cup and you'll dip the dipstick in, you'll lay it flat on a paper towel, and then you'll compare it to the back and you'll be able to take a look at it. Again, not medical diagnosis, of course, work with your medical doctor. But if your BUN and your creatinine were fine on your blood work, that's a good sign. But the urine testing is very helpful, and we, of course, recommended it as well. All right, Tyler's up next. Tyler says, I'm a 37-year-old male, and I was diagnosed with pilocytic astrocytoma brain tumor in my hypothalamus in December of 2022. It was a benign tumor the size of a large egg, and I had a 15-hour surgery to remove 90% of it. 3 years later, I still have erectile dysfunction and low libido. Why is that, and what can I do to fix it? I'm on Clomid for my testosterone, which is now around 500. I was on testosterone gel for a couple months, but quit because of the sperm impact. I test my sodium level every other week because it was low at times after my surgeries. I have a programmable shunt to help drain CSF, cerebral spinal fluid, for those who don't know the abbreviation. I don't have morning erections. Could this be from drainage during the brain surgeries, or is it hormonal related even though I'm on Clomid? Is it psychological? Please help. I listen to your podcast daily. I'm happy to help, Tyler. So this is what we want to do. I have to rule things out. Like, that's the truth. So if we can run the big five, we're going to run the big five to look at everything, all the inflammatory possibilities. If we can't do that and we can only run one lab, totally fine. We'll do what we can do. That's it, right? I totally get it. Run the stress, mood, and metabolism test. Look at your estrogen, progesterone. I want to see if testosterone is converting too high to estrogen. It'll look at your testosterone levels, free testosterone, which is really the only thing that matters. You gave me your total testosterone to me does not matter. You can be total testosterone of 500 with a great conversion and and a free testosterone of 120. Fantastic. It's not a testosterone issue, but I need to see your free testosterone. Then I'm going to look at your DHEA because that'll show me stress levels in the body and your response to it. Then I'm going to look at your cortisol throughout the day. I'll look at your thyroid. I'll look at your hemoglobin A1C. I'll look at your vitamin D3. We can then assess hormones from there. All right. That's the first thing to do. And then my goal would be, especially if you're in the whole big five, look at your deficiencies, look at your toxicities, work on those. Unless there was anything specific that directly affected how the hypothalamus communicates to the pituitary gland, which then communicates to the adrenals, the gonads, which would be the testes in males, the ovaries in females, and the thyroid, well, there's no issue. Like if that did not happen, the stress hormone metabolism test will tell us if that's happening. All right. So Tyler, that's the way that we do it. Honestly, even if you just ran that one lab, you'd find out so much information. And of course, that lab comes with a coaching call and a complete plan. All right. Trish is our last question of the day. Trish says, hi, Dr. C. Hoping to get some advice on your 7-day detox. I'm in my 50s and most of my life, my weight has gone up and down by 30 pounds. I have a problem with binging. As I've gotten older, I've learned how to control it and my triggers. I've tried the detox 3 times and I've tried the detox 3 times and I found that it causes me to binge. Becoming too strict, it throws me for a loop. I don't do the 2 fasting days. I was just going to recommend that. Trish, you're already ahead of me. I fast for 20 hours. I avoid all the inflammatory foods, gluten, dairy, corn, eggs, and nuts, as I do this on a daily basis so that it isn't too hard for me. Giving up berries, fruit in my smoothies, and some quinoa or brown rice is what starts to create me wanting to binge. I usually eat 1 square a day of 90% cacao chocolate too. Any advice on making the detox beneficial without following the guidelines 100%? Hope this makes sense. Yes, the detox is the foundation. And if you work with a health coach, they can customize this for you, but I'm also happy to help too. All right. So I totally get where you're coming from. I've worked with weight loss clients for 30 years now. That's crazy, but it's literally 30 years this year. So I'm happy to help with this. All right. If you're not familiar with what the functional medicine detox is, hundreds of thousands of people have done it. Literally the only functional medicine detox that I know that's guaranteed to work for you. Improve your blood sugar levels, your hormones, your sleep, your clarity, weight, etc. All right, so go to stephencabral.com/detox to read more about it. Trish is not going to do the first 2 fasting days. That is because of the binging that might be created for some people. Totally get it. So we're going to start with the days 3 through 7, and we're going to do a little bit of fruit. We can do a half a cup of berries, whatever your favorite flavored berries are. Try maybe the wild strawberry DNS. It's amazing. It's delicious. You could do that. Or you might just do the chocolate, no berries, and just add some ice and add a little bit of nut butter. So you almost make it like a chocolate peanut butter cup, which is delicious, right? So you do that. All right. Next up, instead of doing the quinoa or brown rice though, because we do want to try to cut that out for the week, we either go half of it and half cauliflower rice, or we do all cauliflower rice. And I recommend that if you can. The cauliflower rice has a little bit of a consistency to rice. It looks like rice. You can season it with thyme and whatever you want to make it really delicious. Still add a little bit of olive oil and sea salt. Try it out. It's delicious. You can still have your salmon or whatever protein you want with that. So that's what I would do. And then don't be afraid to use a product like the GLP-1 tone system to give you more of the natural weight loss, to help curb some of the cravings naturally, to boost your fat loss naturally as well. Remember, the GLP-1 tone system is guaranteed to help double your natural GLP-1 tone production without any injections or pharmaceuticals at all. It naturally contains the patented version of berberine, turmeric, ginger, EGCG, and resveratrol, plus the probiotic that creates more of the good gut bacteria that specifically boosts GLP-1 production. Again, it's guaranteed to work for you. You can find all these things at stephencabral.com/shop. That just takes you over to Equilife, and hopefully that was helpful, Trish. I know you're going to be able to dial it in, no doubt about it. Don't over-exercise during the detox. Keep going with your exercise program. Get in your 7,500 to 10,000 steps per day. Dial in the sleep, and you'll be there. So thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show. I appreciate you. As always, do feel free to share the show with anyone you believe it could serve, and I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Cabral concept.